What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Black Belt Beauty Radio. Round 3, video Solosode. Here we go. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. Last week was the first week that this podcast went dark for an entire week because it just felt like the right thing to do. Last week was very, very turbulent, especially, in my city, Los Angeles, but certainly, around the country and even around the world, really. There's just a lot of intense emotions and energies that we're all living from and through. And so, it just felt like a moment to just pause, take a breath, let things kind of just move, run their course, and, ultimately also to really, it's like one part being respectful to everything that's been taking place, and also equal parts being very mindful about, protecting my personal mind, right? Like, this is something that I really, really want to talk about in this episode. I'm actually going to read a recent Instagram episode or Instagram post that I had put up, where I break this down, the reasons for that. So we know on this podcast and everything that I share, it's like mindset, it rules all. It's the foundation to everything, right? You want to live from your highest self. You want to create this fucking amazing, epic life. Well, it starts from where your mind, is living from. And that's my opinion, but it's also, we have a lot of evidence to back that shit up, outside of my life and everything that is shared through Black Belt Beauty. So, that being said, I'm really, really looking forward to diving into this Solosode with and for all of you. And I really, I think one of the key topics that I want to focus on here is this idea of feel your feelings. I do believe that we have all of the feelings that we have, from, joy to fear to disappointment to, all of it, pain, excitement. We have these feelings, you guys, because it's part of the human condition, right? And obviously some of these feelings are not fun and we don't want to hang out there, but that doesn't mean that, they're bad, or that we're not going to land there, because I think we all know that at some point or another, we're going to touch on most of the feelings, if not all, as a human through our life, right? And so with times as wild as they fucking are right now, and everything moving really fast, like hour by hour, we're downloading new information, and this is triggering new emotions and new feelings that we have to process and move through. And I really do believe that, not resisting against the emotions and allowing yourself to face them and to, like, in a way, embrace them, right? Embrace them, but don't become them. And that's what I want to talk about here in this episode. And I'm going to do my very best to freestyle on this, because it's a really complex subject. I mean, it's like diving into fucking psychology, and I'm not a psychologist, but I am thinking about going to school for it. I'm just saying that because I fucking love it so much, So I think that a great place to start is just like, first of all, let me kind of illustrate something for you that in this dark week on the podcast, I've really been thinking about a lot, and even prior to it, but I felt like it was more pronounced in this last week because there's so many feelings and emotions taking place, right? So this idea that, like, some emotions feel more like a verb, right? Like they're active. So when I think of love, when I feel love it's not a final destination. It's like a place that you want to keep moving through. It's an activity. You want to keep expanding it. You want to keep touching it. You want to keep feeling it, right? And it feels very active versus disappointment. Disappointment feels like a noun. It's like it's landed there. It's a destination, and it certainly doesn't, it's not a destination that I think anybody wants to land or arrive to, but we all, I'm sure, have at some point or another, right? which is not to say that it's not a valid emotion, right? Just because it's not high vibe doesn't mean that you push it away and it's a bad emotion. I believe that, you know, to feel the emotion, to kind of go face to face with it, even toe to toe with it, if you want to frame it like that. Like, I love framing it like that with fear. I'm going to go toe to toe with fear. It really invites you to take a deeper look at it. And in that deeper look at it, you're also taking a deeper look at yourself. That ideally, that's what you're doing. And that's what I'm going to point to in this Instagram post that I had mentioned I'm going to read. So it's this idea that, you know, feel your feelings, just don't become it. Like, feel disappointment, feel anger, feel pain. Don't become pain. Don't become fear. Don't become disappointment. These are like destinations, right? But when you feel love, I feel like that is something that you want to keep adding to yourself, that you want to keep investing in, that you want to stay active with. When you think of like, you know, being bold or brave, again, these feel very active to me. These feel like verbs. So maybe it's a fun game you can start to play with yourself. Like, when you think of different feelings and emotions, start to categorize them. Is this more of a noun or is this more of a verb? And then that also, I think, when you start to encounter these feelings, you know, it's like, oh, destination, not really where I want to hang out, but I'm going to study it. I'm going to observe my environment here, pointing inside, right? Mind, heart. So to move this forward so I don't get stuck, because I think it's really easy for me to kind of rabbit hole on this subject, I just want to read to you guys this post. I used to do Instasodes more frequently. Haven't done one in a minute, so maybe this is a mix of an Instasode and a Solosode, and essentially it's exactly what it sounds like. It's me replaying through the podcast, reading an Instagram episode and just kind of teasing it apart more and getting deeper on, you know, what the message is. So the actual image is an incredible quote from Bruce Lee that I'm going to read because I want this to live in this episode. So he says, I went sailing alone in a junk. On the sea, I thought of all my past training and got mad at myself and punched at the water. Right then, at that moment, a thought suddenly struck me. Wasn't this water the very basic stuff, the essence of Kung Fu? I struck it just now, but it did not suffer hurt. Again, I stabbed it with all my might, yet it was not wounded. I then tried to grasp a handful of it, but it was impossible. This water, the softest substance in the world, could fit into any container. Although it seemed weak, it could penetrate the hardest substance in the world. That was it. I wanted to be like the nature of water. I got chills right now. So when I read that quote, I was like, fuck yes. You know, and then this is what triggered my caption. And in some ways, like, they don't necessarily they're not like perfectly hand in hand, but they do support each other, the caption and that post. And I'll just explain where, you know, why this really I just love this idea of fluidity in life. I love this idea of, because when you're being fluid in life, you're also able to really, I feel like you're moving through life. You're like constantly evolving. And in that, I feel like we're able to experience life really richly. Like, even pain is an experience that is worth feeling. It's worth going through, because there are things that come from pain that literally, there are experiences that pain can give you that, you know, will change the course of your life in the most incredible of ways. You know, it's something, you know, we hear it a lot. We've seen it a lot historically, like an artist, you know, girl gets her heart broken. She writes a fucking Grammy, you know, award-winning album again and again and again, right? And that's just one example. So, you know, I love this idea of fluidity. I love this idea of not gripping and really just being, like he says, soft like water. And at the same time, that softness, that water is legit like the most powerful fucking energy that you can be living from and moving through life with, right? Because you're not gripping, you're open, you're surrendered. So to me, that is true control, right? Nothing's controlling you when you feel like you gotta hold on and it's like, fight for it. It's like you're so fluid, you could just move through life, feel things, even the things that don't feel good, but you just don't become the thing that doesn't feel good. It hurt, it's painful. You don't become the pain. You experience the pain. You observe the pain. You question the pain. You learn from the pain. You grow wisdom from the pain. And then perhaps you create from the pain, right? And so now it's a pretty good segue into the caption. So the caption is, Team Human. I truly believe my greatest contribution to this life I share with all of the world is to be an unwavering expression and source of love, to be an unbreakable pillar of strength to those in need, including myself. The most supportive tool that allows me to live out this contribution and purpose I came downloaded with is this: I must protect my mind at all costs. To show up and support in this world on the highest level, I must keep my mind and my heart living from that level. As someone who feels deeper than I could ever express, trust me when I say it takes a lot of work, especially in times like right now, when there is so much fear, anger, and hurt surrounding all of us. It's work that must be applied every single day. It's work that I embrace, because on the other side of this work is my ability to stand here, rooted, strong, and in love, to share with all of you. I am no stranger to adversity. The challenges my family and I have faced in our younger years are the kind of challenges that would make any caring human hurt to witness. I say that only to make it very clear. By protecting the strength of my mind, I certainly do not avoid pain. It's the opposite. I soften to it. I feel it. I embrace it. I observe it. I study it. I learn from it. I then take the wisdom it always offers me by learning. I then take the wisdom it always offers me by leaning into it and apply that wisdom to my purpose, to find a way to elevate myself as a human experience, consciously contribute from it with consistency. I'm standing here holding love and strength for all of you today and every day. We are a force of one, and maybe hold this thought in your mind as you move through your day. You are not just a human being, you are a human experience. Love rules all. That was my hashtag. You guys, feel your feelings. Fuck yeah. Listen, there are times where anger feels fucking good to me. Straight up. It's like this spicy energy that just, I mean, listen, if you were depressed, you know, the next level up, like the higher frequency emotion and feeling is anger. And so oftentimes, like, anger can actually pull someone out of a depressive state. Do you want to hang out in anger? No, I don't. It's like a fucking, you landed there, you know, it's a destination that I don't want to hang out in anger. I don't think, you know, any sane, loving, caring human wants to hang out in the anger zone. However, I do feel like there's value sometimes of just like feeling that emotion and processing it. But I think the big piece in that caption for me that I shared was, be a student always of yourself. You know, like every emotion is an opportunity for you to look deeper at yourself because you're being triggered by something. It's so powerful to ask why, you know, and not the why has to come from this kind of childlike curiosity. You know how kids are like, but mommy, why? And mom answers or dad answers, but why? And the kid keeps going. It's that same kind of curiosity. Why does someone move? But why does this one? You got to keep asking curiously and not from a place of judgment. Like, why am I depressed? I have a great life. Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? No, that's not what you want to do, right? So, because the thing is like when we start to really peel back the layers and look into these feelings and emotions, we actually start to create a separation between ourselves and them. And then this goes back to the beginning of like what I really want you to take away from in this episode, which is, feel your feelings, learn from your feelings. Just don't become all your feelings. Like, I think the verbs, are going to resonate more. Listen, love resonates with me because I feel like I am love, right? That's the caption. Like strength, courage. These are, I want to keep investing in these emotions and these feelings every fucking day. Fear is not something that I want to invest in, but it's something that I'm going to go toe to toe with when it comes up. I'm not going to try and, pretend it's not there. If I'm feeling sad one day, for whatever reason, I'm not going to try to push it away. No, don't be sad, No, I'm going to study it. I want to soften to it, right? Soften to it. This goes back to the connection of the Bruce Lee, quote, because he punched the water and the water the water wasn't getting hurt. The water wasn't, basically like reacting is really what it was. And because the water was so soft. So I feel like when we have these emotions that we really don't want to hang out in for very long, right? To soften to them and not become a victim of them, not become them is a very powerful thing to do, right? Soften to your sadness, soften to your anger, soften to these, to your disappointment, to whatever, that you're feeling that doesn't feel good, these low vibrational kind of noun emotions and feelings. Just be very, very mindful that you don't become them. And when you start asking questions, this is just my process. This is what has worked for me. This is what continues to work for me. And I love journaling for this. I'm always going to say that because it's truly how it works for me. When you start really digging and asking questions from a very curious, childlike curiosity, you start to create a separation between you and your feelings and your emotions so you can really learn from them. Listen, this isn't something that I've learned from anybody. I haven't, studied this in psychology, or this is truly innate, like wisdom that I've just kind of arrived to in my own experience of life. And I'm mindset coach for a reason, because I have a very fucking resilient mindset. I am very strong. I've been through a lot of shit. I position myself to be uncomfortable in a lot of circumstances in my life. Entrepreneur, that's number one, right? Like it's fucking hard and it's uncomfortable. Every single day there's going to be a form of discomfort when you're, an entrepreneur, in my opinion, at least in my experience, I say that because again, I'm not someone to back down from challenge. And, every time that I've conquered and moved through my challenges, the mind is becoming more resilient. It's becoming more capable. It's becoming stronger. So, arriving to this place where I'm sharing this idea of, feeling your emotions and not necessarily becoming the emotions, the nouns, but, investing more in the verbs, the emotions that really feel expansive, that you want to fortify, you want to be braver every day, right? You want to feel confident every fucking day. Well, that's something that you need to be active with, right? But sad, you don't want to be every day, which also doesn't mean you can't feel it and it's bad and you shouldn't feel it. No, there's beautiful things that come out of these low vibrational emotions and feelings as well, I feel, and in my experience again, so long as you don't become them. And so you kind of like objectify them, like you look at them as like, and you study them. I know it's a lot easier to say this when you're not, I'm not in a state of sadness. I'm not or angry. I'm not in these low vibrational kind of noun emotions and feelings right now. I'm actually feeling a lot of love, a lot of strength, and a lot of fucking inspiration right now, a lot of courage, and all that. So I say that just because I know that it can sound a lot easier when I'm sitting here and just like telling you how to, or inspiring some ways that could be supportive to you to move through this stuff. But I know that it is very effective if you actually try to do this kind of work. Try, and yeah, I mean, it's times are gnarly. They really are, and I think what makes it even gnarlier is that it's not just you, right? Everybody is experiencing challenge in some way, shape, or form. Even people that are the most secure, with their resources in life and et cetera, et cetera. It's like, no, well, they're even maneuvering through challenge. So it's like, I think, feeling this collective energy of we're all going through some shit, it's intense, man. So my goal, my idea with the Solosode, you guys, was just to offer perhaps a different way to look at your emotions and your feelings. I'm not asking you to push them away. I'm not asking you to act like they're not there. I'm not asking you to do anything like that. I'm inviting you to actually just soften to them and study them, ask questions about them to yourself, learn from them, and then perhaps create from the wisdom that you gain from that learning, from that discovery, and then in that process, I do feel like that's also the pathway to move you through the feelings, yeah, that's really what I got for you in this episode. I want to say it's pretty simple, but it's actually complex. And I really hope that this has helped you in some way, shape, or form. I would love to know because, talking about these subjects, especially as someone who, I don't have a psychology background and I can't pull on those strings from that perspective. I can't even remember if I said it at the top of the episode because I go so far into my thoughts, but I'm being inspired to like want to go to school and study psychology. And I'm in a place in my life where, I feel very, I've arrived to so many places of wisdom from a pure sense, not from school, not from the book, not from the workshop or not. So I feel like I'm safe in this zone of, just like birthing these wisdoms on my own, which I think is really important. So it's not this kind of manufactured, I learned it from here, not to discredit anybody who goes to school or the way that you arrive to your place. I'm just totally speaking on my, in my personal life. But all that being said is that I'm really, I'm really thinking about taking it a step further now and, studying, going to school for psychology because it's fascinating. I really do feel like some of the things that have helped me in my life, like to really live from a very empowered, strong mind is understanding how the brain works legitimately, like from a science perspective, right? Because oftentimes we're like, it's all in our head. Well, what does that even mean though? Like what's going on in here, brain to brain, right? I think when we start to really dig deeper and look underneath the hood, this is why I also say, like, what's going on in your body, like your biofeedback, what's your food like? What are you sleeping like? What are the conversations you're having? Like, all that stuff plays into, what is going on underneath the hood in our system. And then that's really going to affect our emotional state. And, so kind of to take it to another level, when we think about emotions and feelings, and then you learn about the brain and how, the brain functions. Man, I don't know. I'm just a fucking geek. And so I'm just calling it out that, thinking somewhere in my future, maybe not in the immediate future, I might want to go to school. So I just threw that shit in here. But ultimately, you guys, what I wanted to share, and I'll just kind of summarize it, is honor your feelings. Honor your feelings. Soften to them. Decide which ones you really want to invest in. You want to fortify. Differentiate the ones that feel more like a noun. Like, oop, it's a destination, but I'm going to look around and check this place out, and then I'm going to bounce, versus the ones that feel more like a verb, that are active, that are action. Like you want to keep putting reps in and fortifying, right? Feel that out. Decide that. Feel your feelings, study, learn, grab the wisdom, and then, apply that wisdom to something that is meaningful to you in your life. It could be a conversation with someone you love. It could be a book that you write. It could just be something that you keep in this treasure chest of you that ends up coming out later in life that is supportive to you or, somebody else in your life. I don't know. But again, the idea here is just to not resist, to feel, to soften, don't grip, keep fucking learning. Keep learning. Critical thinking, I think right now, is literally the most important thing that we all need to be doing. Keep thinking. And I'm going to stop now, or else I feel the rabbit hole literally trying to suck me in. I gotta stop. You guys, I love you. We're the coming weeks of podcasts are epic. I'm really excited. I've got a lot to share with other things that are being coming up with the brand. And anyways, I'm going to stop right now. You guys, I love you. Let me know what you think of this episode. Let me know if that's been helpful to you at all. Stay strong, stay healthy, keep thinking, keep digging, keep learning. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Love you lots.